first place, the caption is even misleading. Because, I mean, when you talk about bailout, you're talking as if the Methodist Church itself bankrupt. Then seeking a bailout. I don't know whether we are seeking bailout from IMF or where we are seeking the bailout. But the facts of the matter is this. The Methodist Church is known to be a church that is concerned about education. Since its establishment in 1835 in our country, it is a well-known fact that the Methodist Church has also, apart from preaching the word, we have also been involved in social evangelism through the establishment of educational institutions, medical institutions, and so on. And even our great projects. The church is involved in all these. And the Methodist Church can say without any apology that we have established some of the best educational institutions in this country at the basic level, at the secondary level, and at the College of Education level. We can talk about infancy. We can talk about Wesley Girls High School. We can talk about Wesley Grammar School. We can talk about Osei Tutu. We can talk about Prempe. We can talk about Wesley College and many, many, many other institutions in this country. All of them, the Methodist Church Ghana, built these schools with their own funding. Later on in 1961, the government came in. So the government came in to assist. But we built these institutions through our church funding. We realized that in spite of all that we had done, for some reason we didn't go into tertiary university level education. So at some point, the Methodist Church decided that we realized that even though in this country we have public universities, quite a number of them at that time, about 6 of them, there were quite a number of people who qualified to enter into universities but couldn't gain admission simply because the existing universities couldn't take them. And the government had also opened the door for private participation in university education. So the Methodist Church was one of the early Christian churches in the country that entered into that. We are not saying that we are the first, but one of the early ones who got involved in it. We started the Methodist University College at Wesley Grammar School. We took one of the dormitories, and that's where we started it. Our commitment was to provide infrastructure for the university. And how did we do it? From its inception, we decided that we were going to use a percentage of our harvest, every harvest. People were expected to pay, was it 3% at that time?
20%.
20%. We used the 20%, and then later on, our people themselves were saying that, they needed a harvest money for some other project, so we need to find ways and means of doing that. So we instituted what we call Methodist Development Fund, where every member of the church was expected to contribute at least one cedi. And considering our membership, we felt that if every member would do so, at the end of the year, we will be able to raise huge sums of money. Unfortunately, not everybody complied with this, So we use these MDF funds and all that to build the infrastructure for the Methodist University. As the university grew up, the university itself came in support, of us. And so we were able to put up the kinds of buildings that we have at the Dansuma campus and also at Tema campus and at Winchi campus. As the university was growing, it became necessary for us to expand the infrastructure. Classrooms, what you call lecture theaters, offices for for staff, both teaching and non-teaching staff. We needed all that. And so we realized that the money that was coming in through the Methodist Development Fund was not enough to catch up with the growth of the university. So the council of the university, and mind you, the council of the university is chaired by the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, and some members appointed by conference also serve on the council, in addition to what is statutorily requested of such institutions. Members drawn from the business world, from our sponsoring university, that is the University of Ghana, and some other places are part of the council. A decision was taken to seek clearance from the church to borrow money to expand the infrastructure. It is the church that has the responsibility to provide the infrastructure. So if we don't have the money wasn't coming the way we expected it. And we think we could get money from a bank to do the infrastructure. We considered that there was nothing wrong with it, so we went for it. And we went for 10 million Ghana cedis. It was 10 million Ghana cedis. We went for that. We started paying this amount, but you know the interest rates in the country. The principal loan or amount that we took, as we said, was 10 million. Interest accrued up to February is 7,082,305.77. To date,
7 million.
7 million
Yeah.
and 82,305.77 interest accrued on the 10 million loan that was taken, making it a total of 17 million. A total of 17 million. 082,305.77. To date, as we are talking, up to February, of course we have paid more than that, because in March we keep on servicing. We have paid 9,642,530.51. You got the figures?
Yeah.
Now, of this amount of money that we have paid, the principal paid is 2,644,062.20. It means that of the 9 million that we have paid an interest of 6,998,468.31, leaving an outstanding as at 27 February of 7,775,775.26. Subject to further interest. Now, because of the galloping interest, the church realized that if we're not very careful, we'll be servicing the debt and the principal will not be able to touch it. So let us take drastic measures. What is the drastic measure? Conference meeting decided that let's go for it at once and pay the principal and the interest, get rid of it, so that we will not be encumbered with the debt. Conference took a decision that 30% of everybody's harvest should be paid to the church for onward transmission to our bankers, so that we believe that we will be able to clear the principal and the debt. But as at January, conference took this decision in August. As at January, we realized that even though people had had the harvest, the amount of money that was trickling in was not able to meet what we wanted to do. And interest was rising. So we needed to take a decision. And I want to read to you a letter here, which called a meeting of stakeholders involving all bishops of the Methodist Church Ghana, including myself as the president, Bishop Henry, all lay chairmen, all synod secretaries, all treasurers, and some others in Kumasi. A meeting, we call it a meeting of the Connectional Executive with diocesan executives and treasurers on January 27, 2015 at Freeman Center, Kumasi, on implementing the conference decision to pay the indebtedness of the Methodist University College to the Prudential Bank amounting to 8,225,000, blah, blah, blah. The resolution that was taken at that conference is what I'm going to read to you. It says, when we met, we jawed a lot. We didn't know what was going to be the outcome. But after the meeting, there was the need for a resolution, which was a consensus. Everybody, there was no dissent in this matter. And I read the resolution to you. Realizing that the 30% harvest proceeds were not forthcoming in a manner that could clear the outstanding debt of Methodist University College, Ghana, the presiding bishop, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, together with his other connectional executive members, the lay president, Mr. Kwame Boafo, administrative bishop, Right Reverend Dr. Kwekwa Samotri, convened the above meeting at Freeman Center, Kumasi, on January 27, 2015, to facilitate the resolution of the problem. After convincing analysis of the situation by the Director of Finance, Very Reverend Anthony Koba, and thorough discussions, the meeting unanimously resolved as follows. I think we have to take a copy of this for you. 1, that all dioceses do a mock-up of the 30% harvest proceeds and remit same to the Connectional Office within 2 weeks, ending February 9, 2015. This is expected to yield 2.5 million. So the mop-up is done. 2, that the dioceses pay the balance of 5,725,495.53 and remit same to the Connectional Office within 2 weeks, ending February 9th, 2015. This is expected. I'm reading the wrong thing. Then number 2 says that the diocese pay the balance of 5,725,495.53 in the proportion of current assessment ratios to enable us fully clear the debt by May 31st, 2015, as indicated in the sheet attached. 3, that all Methodist Development Fund Awareness Day proceeds are to be forwarded to the Connectional Office by February 9th, 2015. 4, that all Watch Night collections are also to reach the Connectional Office by February 9th, 2015. This was a decision that was unanimously taken by the church, represented by the executives. Now, let you know, and again, we will make sure that you have copies of all these things to help you. We shared the 5 million. After the mopping up, we've realized that once they have been able to mop up, bring the 30% harvest, we'll be left with 5.7 million. And so it was the 5.7 million that we shared amongst ourselves, using the ratios that we always use in our assessment. Cape Coast usually pays 8% of connectional assessment. And therefore, 8% of the 5.7, the whole of Cape Coast diocese, not just Cape Coast congregations and dioceses, and Cape Coast involves a number of circuits. Okay, they are to pay 458,000 and 39.64. That is the 8% that Caicos was expected to pay. Accra is a big diocese. It has the ability to pay. So Accra usually pays 17% of our connectional assessment. And the 17% of that amount came up to 973,334.24. Kumasi pays 15.7%. And Kumasi came up to 898,902.80. Sekondi pays 8.40%. And they are paying 480,941.62. Winneba 7.60. Theirs come to 435,137.66, as in that order. In fact, for some of them, dioceses like Somanya pays 1%, so they are paying 60,000. And it involves a number of circuits. So if we require 2.5, they are paying 143. And Northern Ghana is 0.400. They are paying 22,901. This is how we shared it. And it is the way we have always shared our assessments, with the acceptance of both. That's how we shared it. Now we came back. Quite a number of them are doing the best that they can. They are meeting this paying. We know that it is not easy. But we wrote letters to ginger them, because as you delay, the interest goes up. And therefore we realize that if we are not very careful, the very solution that we're trying to find to the problem will become something else. We will use this money simply to service another interest, just to pay the interest. So we were saying, let us do the best that we can. If possible, by the end of May, clear it, suspend projects. And our dioceses are engaged in all sorts of projects. In the Methodist Church, before a diocese even embarks on a project, it needs clearance before you embark on that. And when we are in crisis, we can't say, put every project on hold. Let us clear it, and then we give you the freedom to do that. Let me also say, according to this article, I read that we have threatened superintendents that we will not even pay them. Whoever is saying this doesn't know even the structures in the Methodist Church. Methodist Church ministers are not paid from the center. We sitting here do not pay that. The Methodist Church is structured this way. You have the connection, that is the entire Methodist Church. And the connection is broken into dioceses. As at now, we have 16 dioceses. And every diocese is broken into circuits. You have different circuits. Some dioceses have about 22 circuits. Some have 18, 50, 27, 37 dioceses.
The total is 273.
The total dioceses is 200 circuits. Is 273 out of the 16 is broken into that. Some of these are strong, others are weak. So they also use, certain ratios when they are sharing these things. And every circuit does its own budget. And the budget of a circuit would include the salaries of the ministers who are serving in that circuit. It is the superintendent and his circuit steward who are responsible for these payments. So will a superintendent sit somewhere and say, because I have not paid, I'm not going to pay myself? Until now, there is no superintendent who has come in here to say, I have not been paid. Because they are responsible for that. And I'll ask them, why have you been paid? Because you are responsible for your own payments. That's the way the Methodist Church functions. And yet the impression is being created as if somebody sits somewhere and then say, we are not going to pay. Then also, one of the factual, questionable things that were put here was that the Methodist Church went for a loan of $1 million. your quick read, a loan of 1 million contracted by the Methodist University has now become an albatross. How? You know, is this journalism? As far as I'm concerned. How did you do your research? I thought the loan was even 10 million. Why has it become an albatross? Because we are paying it anyway. Even yesterday, I signed a check, 130,000, to pay to the bank. Our circuits and our dioceses are paying. We are only trying to tell them, let's back up so that by 31st May, we'll be able to finish and we will not have to worry ourselves anymore. So this is the situation. We just want to say that what has been published here, obviously, in the church, you are going to get people who will not be happy with decisions that will be taken. And so is every, institution. There is nothing strange here. Again, there is nothing strange that we will go for a loan from the bank to build infrastructures that are there. There's nothing strange. Even government-subvented institutions, public universities, go for loans. So there is nothing strange about this. Secondly, the idea that the Methodist University should be able to take care of their own loan and it's not, we are the owners of the university. We, sir, will provide infrastructure. People are saying, oh, they are collecting fees, but why can't they use the fees? Some of them, the National Accreditation Board regulation will not even permit you to use fees to build infrastructure. If you cannot build your own infrastructure, then you don't go for it. And that's why it is incumbent on us to do that. The fees that are collected go in to take care of our lecturers. Mind you, in a public, in private university, to be able to attract good lecturers, all of them are qualified to teach in public universities. So their pay must be closer to the amount that they will be to the public university. Otherwise, you're not going to get people to come in there. And if you say you're going to raise fees, look at the number of public institutions in the country now. The competition is tough that you're going to kill your university. So just as the public universities have been in existence for years and yet they are dependent on government subvention, we, the Methodist Church, we have the responsibility to take care of our university, provide at least infrastructure so that the university will be able to stand on its own. And this is what has landed us into whatever. There are people who are saying, well, we send our children to Methodist University, they don't take them. A university that is looking for students, you are a Methodist, you send your child who is qualified, and then the Methodist University says we won't pick you. Does it make sense? When we are crying that we need students, but people think they are Methodists, and therefore if they send their children and they don't qualify, they must be accepted. That we can't do because the regulatory body will not allow us. The NAB will not permit us to admit people who are not qualified. Now they are saying, well, they don't help our children. They go there. We were giving, the Methodist University was giving, Methodists who attended there.
30,
yes, 30, every year, 30 people were giving bursaries. But we realized that we need to change that because the number may be more than the 30. So now what they have done is that every Methodist who gains admission at Methodist University is giving 5% off. The university pays 5% off that person's school fees. Every Methodist. This is what we are trying to do. Now people talk about inefficiency. What is inefficiency about going for a loan and realizing that the interest on the loan is too big? So I need to take measures to clear it so that it doesn't become an albatross on my neck. What is wrong with that? And somebody who has reason to kick against whatever we are doing will have to come up with this figures, twisting facts to suit his own interest. The Methodist Church denies flatly that we've gone for a bailout. We are simply saying that as a church, we owe it a duty to provide infrastructure. We've gone for a loan because of the huge interest. We're trying to take measures to pay off the principal and the loan so that we will be in a position to get on with other things. That's all.
And so, we have 4 campuses. We have 4 campuses.
Yes.
Not only one Methodist University, 2 in Wenchi. We have 1 in Tema and 1 at Danso.
We are right now even moving to Takoradi because we want to establish an oil faculty there. Because of the oil thing, we want to do oil studies there. Wenchi, we have a hospital there. So we started a nursing training and we want to do paramed, kinds of studies there where people will do, laboratory studies and those kinds of things. We're working on that. We have an agric school there up to degree level. And Wenchi itself is even produced, we are trying to teach people, we don't want our students to go there and then come and look for a job. So there's an entrepreneurial studies attached to it so that when they come back, they will be able to do something. It's our service to the community. And we don't do that to make money. The church has never been engaged in any educational institution in order to make money, but to serve the society. And that's why if you are a Methodist and you believe in the teachings of our church, that our church has always believed that we have responsibility towards the society, you cannot renege in contributing to something, a good cause. In any case, let me tell you something. Yesterday, when these things came and the people started bombarding me, I will show you something that, some text messages, it will interest you to know. Here is somebody who sent me a text. Your explanation on the death scare on the Methodist University was okay. As a Muslim, this is a Muslim. I don't know him. My heart goes to you. And I'm sure in no time many would help out irrespective of sex. Your cause is right. Alhaji A. Abdullah of Chief Imam Education Fund, Sunset Fund. This is what he sent to me. I'll also show you something that came from a sister church, which is not even a Methodist church. I will read that to you. Wish I can find it. Listen, when you are looking for this. A church that is not even a Methodist church, the headship, called me and said, don't be worried about this. Show us where we can also make our contribution. This is for a good cause. And if you call yourself a Methodist and the church is doing something to serve the nation, and you have to treat your church this way, then I question your credibility as a Methodist.
So, my beef is with the people. Like we're saying, graphic, we all know is the most credible people that we have in the country. But such a people will also take something and will not bother to do any kind of clarification. Then you go out and publish something like this. It's also unpardonable, and we think that cheap journalism must end somewhere so that we
Well, this has done a lot of damage
exactly
to the Methodist University and to the Methodist Church Ghana, especially when the university has applied to the National Accreditation for Charter.
Yeah.
And something of this nature comes up in the whole nation's paper, the damage that has been done to us. When just picking a phone and even finding out, we could have given you the facts. The whole thing is incorrect, and the figment of somebody's imagination, the church is angry. The church is angry. When people are paying and we servicing our debts and negotiating, apart from servicing, we're also negotiating with the bank and telling them, can you do something about the interest? As if we are irresponsible. You know.
So I want, like we say, where I'm coming from, I am responsible for the young people. And if you hear a lot of young people calling to find out what's going on, it's a big dent on our image. The one who brought the story has done as great damage, but then graphic has also done as extremely bad damage to our credibility, and we don't expect a people like this to behave the way you people have behaved. It's unprofessional and it's uncalled for. We are very sad that credible people like this will go.
I have been talking
like
to
it's bad.
All FMs, almost. I mean, sometimes some of the FMs I didn't know that this country will have a number. Just mention their names. I say, where are you coming from? They say, Sama somewhere. My goodness, they have read all these things, and then you tell them the story, and they say, what is the big deal? Look, I have said as a panel member of the National Accreditation Board going around to schools, and I can tell you, there's no single private university in this country that doesn't depend upon some financial resource or something. And a lot of them have gone for loans. I don't want to mention names. That I know. I know that even public universities, one public university went for a loan. And if we tell you how that loan has escalated with interest, you will not believe it. So what is the big deal?